right, kids, it's time for another episode of Hawk Picks. Let me go through what the top 5 things are. I'm just going to go with top 5 from now on, as far as what the return on investment is. And that's not just because sales have been bad, even though they haven't been great. I can tell you that. So let me go ahead and just go through those top 5 items, and then we'll figure it out from there. So let's see. Well, I can tell you I have sold a couple hats. I'm pretty sure that's going to be towards the bottom of the list. They just don't tend to bring in a ton of money. But yeah, that's definitely the fifth highest selling thing and big return on investment over the last 2 weeks would be a Tommy Hilfiger blue ball cap. It's got an insignia on it, or the logo TH kind of right up in the middle of it. It's actually a really cool looking hat. We bought that thing, gosh, yeah, right at the beginning of this year, so in January, and it finally sold for $18. It only cost $1. By the time all the fees went off and all that jazz, we ended up walking away with $9.25. So, I mean, really, that's more than 9 times what we paid for it. So, not the end of the world. Again, we like to try and make sure that we're going to make $20 on things, but it just doesn't always happen that way. Okay, so if you listen to the other podcasts, you know that something kind of crappy happened. And it was right in the middle of me being on the way to pick up some inventory. And I had worked out a deal with this lady on Facebook Marketplace. It looked really great. She had a bunch of vintage board games that she was getting rid of for only $50. I mean, they were pretty great, guys. And I can tell you that, yeah, it was a steal to me. The way I calculated it, it was somewhere around maybe $400 that I would have made on sales from all these. Maybe even a little bit more. Kind of hard to say. But definitely would have really walked away with some big money on this deal. So, long story short, it was about an hour away. I had worked with this lady for, I mean, it seemed like forever. But I had been working with her for well over a week, trying to set up a time when I could drive there, an hour south and east of here, and pick up these items. And she wasn't available. She would rarely respond. And it was just really annoying, man. It got to the point where I finally was just like, screw this crap. I mean, this is too much. I'd kind of given up on it, and I thought it was over. And then she sent a message to me on this particular Sunday. It wasn't this last Sunday, but the one before. And she said, "Hey, I'm home now." And I was like, okay, well, I probably am free later. I can head your way. It's going to take me about an hour, but I can get down there and get this picked up from you if you still have it to offer. And she said, "Yeah, absolutely." And so I said, "Okay, well, I'm going to leave here soon. And where am I going? Because she didn't even give me an address. I mean, I had to walk her through everything and hold her hand the entire time. So I started driving down there, and I was probably about 40 minutes into my hour-long drive, and I get a message from her. I will put the message in the photo album you can go look at, because I'm not just going to go blast her, even though you wouldn't be able to tell by the message probably who the hell she is. But I'm not going to do that to anybody. That's not cool, even someone who sucks as much as this person does. So I'm on my way there. I'm, 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes away. And she gives me the address, says, hey, my house is the one with all the plants on the porch when you go down that road. I'm like, okay, great. No problem. Give her a thumbs up. And then, 15 minutes out, 20 minutes out, I get this message. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I thought you were the man that already paid me. I thought that's who I was talking to. He just showed up and picked up the games because he'd already prepaid. There's been so many people looking at these games. I mixed you up. I'm so sorry. And I was in the middle of recording the last episode of my other podcast, the Dad Snark podcast, and I was like, if you go listen to that podcast, you can hear the moment I get that message. You can hear the chime of the message coming in the background, and then you can hear my reaction to it. It wasn't instant rage, but it was like kind of laughing, But I pulled over and I responded to her. I said, yeah, I'm a good halfway there. I'm not going to lie. That stinks. This whole thing has been a nightmare. Good luck. And then I turned around and started driving home. I mean, I was just livid, man. I really was. I was so frustrated and worn out on this deal. I just couldn't even believe that this person was this inept and ridiculous at trying to sell something. I mean, dude, even if you're not a reseller, I get that. And I get that it's not something that comes naturally to everybody, and I understand all that. But at the same time, how in the hell do you get two people mixed up like that to the point where you're having one drive all the way down there to buy something and you're an hour away and you don't even realize yet you're talking to multiple people about this deal? It's pretty simple. They're different conversations in Facebook Messenger. It really sucked, man. I mean, I did end up writing a review for her, and I definitely lit her ass up. I hate to be a jerk like that, but man, people have to know this person doesn't know what they're doing. And it's interesting because I've talked to other people who do resale and just people in general, and they said, I've heard so many complaints about people who sell things on Facebook Marketplace. Most people believe that that's the worst group of people that don't know how to resell that there is on the internet. And I would take it one step further and I'd say, I would take it one step further and say, it's also, no, most people say that, I'm sorry, let me try that again. Most people say that's the worst group of buyers on the internet. You always get the, hey, is this still for sale? Comment. I mean, that's kind of the running joke with it, but it's not a joke. I mean, that's exactly what you get every time you put something up for sale on Facebook Marketplace. Doesn't matter how freaking long it's been up there. Doesn't matter when the latest, if you put it up 5 minutes ago or if you put it up, 5 years ago, you're going to get dummies going, hey, it's still available. So, you may even have in the notes, oh, hey, if it's up here, it's for sale. Please don't ask. I mean, you'll see so many people just dealing with buyers. I would take it a step further and say it also has a worse group of sellers. I mean, I've bought things from multiple different people on here. And actually, I've bought 2 more things since then from sellers on here. And they've worked out great. And I've had a lot of great sellers on here. But I've had some real stinkers. I mean, this lady takes the cake. But I've had some stinkers on here too. It was very upsetting. It was very frustrating. It was a total defeat. I was pretty upset and pissed. But you know what? I got through it. So let's go ahead and quit crying and whining about it and move on to what got me the second most profit this last week. Okay, let's see here. I would have to say the item, let me see. It could be either one of these. So let me see here. Yeah, it's definitely this one. So I've been finding a bunch of old gaming stuff that I had from, when I had consoles and would play a lot more video games, and putting that stuff up for sale. I've told you guys about it. The next item, actually, this one should probably have been first, but that's okay. This would be a Sony PlayStation 2 Mad Catz controller extension cable. It's extender for 7 foot long. I don't know if you've ever seen these, but they're kind of a little round deal, then the cord wrapped around the outside of it, and then it has a little thing that kept it closed. And then in the center of that round thing is the port for your existing PS2 controller. And then when you unwind it, that's a 7 foot extension cord. So you could sit further away from your TV when you're playing your PlayStation 2. But yeah, I mean, I had it forever. It was just sitting around. So I grabbed it, put it up for sale, and that sucker sold. And we made a cool $8 on it. By the time it was all said and done, made about $8. So actually, that should have been the lowest that we made the last week, but I got them mixed up there. So this one would actually be the 5th one. The 4th one would be the Tommy Hilfiger cap. And I'll just go ahead and go into the 3rd one. Might as well go ahead and get that done. And realistically, actually, the 3rd one's kind of a surprise, because this was totally a surprise to begin with. In case you don't know it, fellow resellers and just humans in general, people buy empty boxes on eBay as collector's items. So I knew this, and I'd heard about this, people buying, empty iPhone boxes and stuff like that. And so I had some iPhone boxes, like a iPhone 12 and an iPhone 14 Pro Max, and I had a couple of them. I put them up for sale, and then while I was putting them up for sale and everything, I noticed over on my shelf here I had a Generation 1 iPhone box, empty, from the first time I had a smartphone. Really, I mean, I had one before that, but the first modern slab smartphone. And I put it up for sale, and it sold. And the funny thing about it is, it sold to a guy in Budapest, Hungary. So not only is it the first time I've sold an empty box, it's the first time I've sold to an international buyer. But yeah, this guy paid good money for it. I ended up walking away with, I want to say, like $43 by the time all is said and done. I'm not including any costs in that originally, because, I mean, how do you figure that, right? The phone's long gone. This thing's from 20 years ago. Didn't cost me anything, and we made $43 off it. So that's the 3rd highest ROI for this last 2 weeks. On to other things. So, yeah, it's just one of those things. When you're sourcing, you're going to try different places, and you're never going to stop trying to find alternate ways to get in and make some deals to get more stock to sell. And, it's garage sale season, and we've been having a great time with that. Thrift stores still are fun sometimes. But I do like kind of sourcing things on Facebook Marketplace, because, look, if that lady wouldn't have screwed that up, I would have gone to her and paid $50 for these board games. And some of them were PC games too. And I would have turned around and made a bundle on that, right? So it's still worth the time to look at it. While that was a big downer and a bummer, what happened, it still is worth my time to take a look on there. And so I do. And actually, within the last week, I've had a couple great deals on there. One is I picked up a box of stuff from this guy, or just a lot of stuff from this guy. And You know, I don't even want to get into the label printer I have right here next to me. I bought this label printer on Facebook Marketplace. Gosh, that was like a week and a half ago, maybe. But, you know, a Bluetooth thermal printer that prints off mailing labels, so I don't have to depend on the kiosks that are always broken at the post office. And really, each label is pennies, you know, so it's worth going ahead and doing it yourself if you can. That way, when you go to the post office, you just drop this stuff off and it's done. Found one of those on there and only paid $20 for it. I mean, it's like a $60 printer, or maybe more, and came with some labels already in it. Works perfectly. Picked it up from a guy, no problem. Okay. Then it was last Saturday, I believe, I found a guy that had some things for sale, several different things for sale. He was kind of clearing up some stuff because he's moving out of an apartment into a house or something like that. I don't know. But he's pretty close to me. What caught my eye was he had this Cthulhu puzzle, a 1,000-piece puzzle, and I had never seen this image before and everything, and I was interested in just buying that because I'm a big Cthulhu fan, in case you don't know that. But he also had some other things for sale. He had a Philips, basically a speaker that is the old style with the iPhone/iPod connector on the front of it, you know, the 30-pin connector. He had one of those that he was selling for a few bucks. And then he also had these nice not custom, but faucets, really high-end faucets. And I've seen people buy those before and sell them for a bundle. He had 2 of those. Anyway, he had a bunch of stuff for sale in separate places. I asked him if he would bundle it all together, you know, and sell it to me for basically about $10 off. And so he did. I think he had it all together. It was over $40. I got it for $30. And like I said, you know, the puzzle I just wanted, so that was no big deal. The speaker alone is probably going to pay for a lot more than what I paid for this. And so then those faucets are just gravy on top, you know, and they should sell for about $40 each. I mean, so in the end, it's $120 I'll probably make off of $30. So not a big deal. And then the other one that I have, I actually completed last night. I found this guy on here and he had a lot. He's kind of cleaning out his closet. He had a lot of 5 pairs of Vans. And I mean, these things look like new, right? I mean, they need to be cleaned up a little bit, 1 or 2 of them, but 3 of those pairs look like new. And also 3 of those pair are the kind of suede leather ones. And then there's a canvas pair, which should probably go for about $30. And then he has a pair of checks, blue ones, the slide-ons, the slip-ons. And those are probably go for about $30 also. So all of those together for $50. So realistically, even if I just sell those 2 low-end ones, I'll get my money back, and then everything after that's a cakewalk, pure gravy, right? So yeah, I like selling Vans. They're good shoes. They hold their value pretty good. Not always fantastic, but they do hold their value pretty good if they're the right ones. And so yeah, I mean, it was a no-brainer. So I drove to meet him yesterday and picked those up, and it was a great transaction, man. So you know, you can find good things on there. You just might have to sift through some bullshit to get to it, but sometimes it's awesome, okay? All right, so we went over the iPhone box, which is still outrageous. And the next thing is a Speedway Racing board game by Showtime, SHO-TYME Motorsports. It's a NASCAR racing board game. I remember finding this, actually. I found it at a thrift store, thrift store outlet, so like the bins kind of place. This place is a little different because their bins, they have things separated inside. So the bins are about the same that you're used to if you've ever been to one of those. But all the electronics are along the wall and, you know, all that stuff's along the wall and on the back. Furniture is separate, obviously. And then media is in a whole different room, and that's books, all music and all video. And those things are like $1.75 each, or buck, something like that. And then everything else is by the pound that's in the bins. Well, in one section they have board games and puzzles, and I always look through there, and mostly because of this, I bought 2 board games there the first time I ever went there. So they're $1.75 each is what I ended up paying. One was called Atmosphere, Fear, and it's a VHS board game. It was pretty wild because I looked at it, I opened it up, and everything was in there. I'm like, oh, this is a no-brainer, right? And I thought I was going to be paying $5 for that, actually, but it was only $1.75. And then I also looked and saw this NASCAR game. I know NASCAR stuff sells well, especially board games sell well, so I figured put the two together, it's got to sell, right? Well, this game's extremely rare, I can tell you. I can't find one for sale anywhere on the internet. I did find some information on the game on BoardGameGeeks.com. They had the instructions and all that stuff, but when I cracked this thing open and started looking at it, all the little pieces, the little cars that you use to move through the board, through the game, were sealed. They'd never been opened. I mean, this thing's got to be from the early 80s from what I calculate by what I've read and what I saw, as far as there's no real dates on it. It looks like it's a board game that was made in one part of the country for the Showtime Motorsports, where the NASCAR kind of got started before it became a big deal. And yeah, I mean, it's a cool game, and I ended up selling that thing. So I bought it for about $1.75. I think, let's see, ended up walking away from that one. Let me see here. Yeah, $1.75. Ended up selling it. And actually, this one should have been third. After fees and everything, I walked away with $39.24. So another $40, off of $1.75. So what are you going to do, right? It's a no-brainer. I mean, if you see stuff like that, you pick it up and you sell it, right? All right. So yeah, the Atmosphere board game I bought at the same time. I ended up making $37 off that. So 2 games, $3.50 altogether, and I ended up making about $80 walking away after fees and after shipping and all that jazz. So another thing that's going on with the reselling business right now is my friend that I've been talking to, Doug. He and I have been discussing it, and he went to shipping included on things. Now he does just clothes, I believe. He and I have talked a little bit about the possibility of selling other things, and he's thought about it. But he does just clothes. So, free shipping on that in the continental United States, yeah, I could see working that into the price and still offering it for a good deal, and that entices. The first thing it does is eBay, from what I hear, will push your stuff up, so that's what people see first. The other thing that happens is it makes a customer happy. I mean, they pay one price and it's already shipping to them. Whereas the way I was doing it before, they would have to, pay the price for the item, and then they have to pay to ship the item to themselves. So what you do is you basically take what what this average price is or whatever, and then you just add roughly what you think shipping would cost on an average. Sometimes it's hard to tell, and I'm sure there'll be time or two where I got it wrong. That's actually already happened to me when I am charging for shipping. So the longer you do this, the better you get at those estimates. And so I switched over most of the stuff, not everything. I mean, things like that board game is a huge box, There's no way on earth I would have done free shipping on that, just because I have no idea how much it was going to cost before I shipped it. I could have done, I weighed it. I always weigh everything and I always measure everything, so I have a rough idea of how big it's going to be. But still, you just don't know. I mean, you could be selling that to somebody in Seattle and it's going to cost you, $30 to ship it to them. So on stuff like that, I'm not going to do that. But on smaller things, on media, obviously, DVDs, Blu-ray, CDs, VHS, Definitely. I mean, because it doesn't cost much to ship that. There's a standard cost for media mail with the United States Postal System. So that's a no-brainer there. And some of the other things like that you can get into bags and stuff like that to ship to people. Yeah, I'm doing it on that. So almost all the clothes are on there, and a lot of shoes too. You can kind of guesstimate shoes. Not all of them. Some of them are going to cost way more than you might imagine, just because they're heavy. Boots, that's not something I want to do this on. So it just really depends on what it is. But I have made that transition over, and have gotten a couple sales from it. Nothing crazy. So just on hats actually. But yeah, it's easy to do free shipping on a hat. I mean, you know, you add $5-6 to the price, and that's what it's going to cost you to ship it more than likely. They don't weigh anything. So, all right. And the number one item for this show, and it's a doozy, is a TSC is the brand name. TDP 247 thermal label printer. It's got USB, serial, parallel port on the back, and a network port, actually. These are like commercial printers. And I went on my own one time to a thrift store that my wife and I have been to several times. And I had the day off, and she's like, yeah, go have fun, you know. And so I stopped at this thrift store, and I believe electronics were half off that day. And this was sitting there. I saw it. I'm like, holy shit, dude, that's worth some money right there. I knew it as soon as I saw it. It looked like something that's in a warehouse or, at a desk, maybe at a retail store or something like that, or in an office. It didn't look like, something you just pick up anywhere. And so I started looking at it. I think it was $8, so it was half off electronics. So it was $4 for this thing, and ended up selling this deal. Hold on a second. This is crazy. Now I'm trying to see where she's got this listed in here. Oh, here we go. Ended up selling that thing for $130. By the time all was said and done, let me look in here and just kind of see what we ended up walking away with. But it was a really good deal, I can tell you that. Yeah. So the total sales price $157. They had to pay $5 shipping. There was they had to pay sales tax $11.18. The transaction fee is about $13. Shipping costs about $15. So take off $27. Ended up walking away with, gosh, I want to say, let me just do the math real quick. Sorry, guys. Should have had this set up a little bit better. Yeah, so take $39.15 off, and then so realistically, walked away with $113. Made $113 off that, and actually it was $10. It was half off, so it was $5. I got another thing there too at the same time, and it was actually the $8, and I got it for $4. But it's a Philips alarm clock, and it simulates the sun coming up in the morning, and it's a clock radio and everything, goes next to your bed. But yeah, that thing also sells really well, and it was $4. But yeah, this printer, yeah, $5, and ended up, like I said, making $113 off it. So it's a total win. But yeah, that's the number one return on investment there. Let's see what that is. Yeah. Or wait, I'm sorry. Hold on, I didn't do that right. Yeah. That would be a 2,264% return on investment. That's not right. That can't be right. It's a 200 times. Is that even right? I don't know. No, it's a 22.7%. Or no, 22.7 times what I paid for it, basically. So I don't know, man. I'm no good with financial stuff like that, guys. I just know that I made a buttload of money off something I paid $5 for. So, but that is it, guys. I appreciate you guys listening. I will be off for a couple weeks here, and that's not just this show, it's the other show as well. We're on a vacation, so this has been recorded long before we've gone. But when we get back, the first episode will be with the other show, and then I'll come back to you guys. So you're probably looking at about 3 weeks or so before you hear from me again. But I appreciate you guys listening. Keep on keeping on. I'll put some links in the notes with the photo album with the items that have sold recently, along with some stuff I've been doing with AI too, by the way. I've been doing a lot of stuff messing around with AI, using the caricature that created my AI character that I use on all this advertising and stuff. And I was able to go in and take him and actually use different voices and have him saying things, talking about the latest episode or whatever. Now I've actually been able to incorporate my own voice by giving it so much data, and it just basically recreates me saying it, which is awesome. So just been playing around with AI, having fun with that. People seem pretty receptive and have enjoyed it. So I hope you guys do too. Hey, if there's anything you guys need, you can reach out to me at hawkmansgoods@gmail.com. I'll put the link up for the Hi Hello as well. You can see all the social media and stuff. And we'll catch up with you guys here in about 3 weeks or so. Thanks again for listening. Take it easy. Bye.